Alright, so we are back in Empathy Path of Whispers. I found myself really curious about what was going to happen next and where the story went, which is actually a really good sign that the game was able to spark a sense of empathy in me and to get me connected with the characters. So I wanted to come back in, reload the game, and we're going to reload right back where we left off. I didn't do any exploration between the last video and now, and go in and see if we can't find that key. And while we're doing so, I wanted to talk about a few topics of empathy that relate to the game and that maybe relate to why I just can't resist coming back into this game, even though it is really vertigo-inducing for me because of the nature of the game itself. And maybe I should have hit continue before we got started with this talk, because it looks like we've got a decent loading time on the screen as well. Alright, here we go. So where we left off last time, I have this locked iron latch here that I can't open up. I've got a few dots on my screen, and I think this other set of dots leads me to a house with a door that I can't get through. So I've got a few things that I have to go searching through, and I haven't thoroughly searched through these tents. I ran through and was looking around for blips and things that I could find, history and these sort of empathic or memory-based information, but I was not running through to see if there was anything I could pick up, such as a potential key. So we're gonna look through there, and as we do that, here we go. I do have a memory right from the start. I have something that I can click on. So let's get right in and listen to one of these memories.
Enough. Take our food, take our things. People are disappearing. Little girl takes a fall. You think we can't see what you're doing here? Enough! Death to fascists!
Oh, okay then. Death to fascists. Who was saying that? So that is an entirely new person. So we have these two people who we think are Joyce's parents, right? So Joyce is a child who seems to have gone missing from the playground. And then we have Pavel, who may be Joyce's father, and Salma, who seems like Joyce's mother, setting up a trust fund for Joyce, who seems to have gone missing. And then a gentleman who seems to be selling ice cream and also may be related to why Joyce is missing. So that's what we have going so far, but now we also have a camp of people saying death to fascists. So that's an interesting twist. I don't think we have anything else implying fascism in the story so far. So while we're searching around, I wanted to talk a little bit about other aspects of empathy that maybe relate to. Oh, wait, first let's jump back in. We've got a sword here. Maybe I can use the sword. I might have a weapon.
Okay, I will be Princess Scarlet. You can be Ago, the barbarian, or the dragon rider. You can't be the prince. Ew.
Oh, so Joyce is playing with someone and is in this camp. Okay. So Joyce originally seemed to be in a house with a trust fund, or investments, and now Joyce finds herself in this camp telling somebody that they most certainly cannot be the prince. So that's interesting. And I wonder if this is giving us just the order that we found them. No, it isn't. These might be the order that they occur in, because we have Joyce first talking about being the Princess Scarlet, and then saying, "Hey, Mr. Help." But in this case, we found the ice cream quote first before we found the Filatovs running away. So maybe this is telling us things in the order in which they happened, rather in the order in which I found them. And what's interesting is I didn't think I saw blips on my scanner for finding each of these. So I definitely need to be looking around more in places that I find, even beyond what I'm finding in terms of blue arrows on this scanner. So I kind of became really reliant on those blue arrows. So getting back to what I mentioned as to why I started thinking about why I wanted to come back into this game, especially when it's the sort of game that I usually avoid because of all of this, and I'm going to look away, right, because of all of this camera panning. And yet I found myself really wanting to come back into this game. And I talked a little bit last time about how anything involving a child, right, and I'm instantly hooked. And this may even be intentional on the part of the developers, and I like to assume that these sorts of things are intentional on the part of the developers, right? To be a developer of a good game, you really have to be thinking about these sorts of things. And so I like to assume the best. But one of the things that we know about empathy and about how we relate to others is that we tend to empathize more with people that we view as similar to ourselves. And it's actually something that could be a problem with empathy because it makes it harder to show that connection and show that empathy and compassion to those who we view as other. So one of the things that the human mind does is divide people into groups known as in-groups and out-groups. So we have sort of folks that we view as us and folks as we view as them. And we lament this all the time, so we intuitively know that people are making us versus them, and we often say that we shouldn't have an us versus them mentality, but it turns out that this is something that happens kind of naturally, and it will happen for the smallest sorts of things. So researchers have created groups with regards to us versus them for something as small as being labeled, and the labels are assigned randomly, as a chronic overestimator or chronic underestimator of how many dots are on a screen. So they have people estimate the number of dots on a screen and then randomly assign them to get feedback that tells them that they are chronic overestimators or chronic underestimators of the number of dots. And they then have chronic over...
I always wondered, when there are few humans left, does an individual life become precious? Or is it just one more on the pile?
Oh, we will talk about that as well. But let me finish what I'm saying, gentlemen, before we do that. So when we start to then be grouped together on the basis of even something so simple as, do we chronically overestimate or do we chronically underestimate, and then engage in group activities, we start to relate to that group and we start to show biases. I'll be right back there. We begin to show biases towards that group, starting to think that this group is better than other groups, does things better, is kinder, is smarter, has all sorts of more positive characteristics than the other group. And give me just a second, we're going to get some plot points and we'll come back and talk about why. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I was just able to open this, and what's inside? What's inside? Oh, we've got a box. What have I done? Well, I've pushed a button on the box. Let's close the door. Actually, let's open it so that I know I've done that before. And what did that do? This seems to connect here. Did I? Oh, look, more stairs. We connected to another room, maybe? I am in a new place. Okay.
This is interesting. Cameras, microphones. Turns out Atlas Park is a lush green police state. Who do you think used to monitor all this?
Well,
Afraid of?
some guy over there thought it was fascists. So maybe that's where he got the idea of fascists, with a police state going on over here. Let's find out more. Oh, we've got two things. So first we've got a safe. I can't get the safe to trigger again. Something. Do you see that? Something keeps flashing as I go over the safe. Okay, first let's get this out of the way.
Almost done. Will be useful. Sure of it. Would appreciate prototype, but blueprints workable. Where to deliver? Head office surely evacuated. Mountains? Prototype kept there. No need. Authorities best bet, if authorities still exist.
A blueprint or a prototype. So now, again, I got it. There we go. The safe needs a code. I don't know how I'm supposed to enter the code. Maybe literally. I am stuck. Oh, I have to do this with the... Do I have anything that implies a code? I don't know anything that would be a code. So let's get out of here. Oh, I'm getting some feedback from Red Fighter that we can't really hear the voices in the game. So you can read the stuff at the bottom, but you can't really hear the voices. Let me see if I can turn that up a little bit and change that. But first I have to, So sometimes this happens in this game where I end up having to figure out how do I back out of something. There we go. Okay. So I've backed out. And now I will enter into settings. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the background music and the effects down a little bit. So that I can then balance the game up more. So that should, let me know if this works out a little bit better. So we're going to turn down a little bit of the background music and effects so that you can continue to hear me, but the voice will stay up so that when the voices come, that the voices are a little bit louder. So the next time we hear a voice. So we've got this safe over here that I'd like to know a code for, so we got to remember that this is over here for the next time that we find something that might... Ooh! Emitter schematic. Oh, now I have a schematic. Can I look at that in my inventory? I don't appear to be able to really evaluate things in my inventory. They're just there. Okay, let's keep looking. I don't see anything on there that implies a code. Oh, what's this? That seems to lead to a downstairs, and this seems to lead to an upstairs. Let's try going upstairs. Humming of the machine. So how is the sound of that humming of the machine? Does that overpower me now when you hear the humming of the machine, or can you still hear me with that machine humming in the background? we can hear things from this machine too. That's interesting. I don't think I can interact with it. Oh, chair. Hello, chair. Oh, can I interact with these? No. So these just seem to be really interesting atmospherics. But, see, I always find myself thinking, right, if they've given me an upstairs, there's gotta be a reason I've been given an upstairs. But maybe that reason will become apparent later on. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to be here yet. Oh, look at the wires. I'm going over there. Okay. I've got to come back when I've got that code. Alright, so... Oh, another flight of stairs. Let's check this out. Ah, look, a little home. This is where maybe the police fascists live? Because that's what we're going to call them now. Anything with a key signature? So this door is boarded up. Can't get out there. A toothbrush. No. A mirror in which I can't see myself again. Ah, it's broken. That's creepy. So, can I open this? No. Can I open the door? I can open the door. I can get outside. Alright. What's outside? Ah, okay. I've got another memory here outside. Let's see if it gives us. And it's got more radio signal sounds. Let's see if it gives us.
Signal. Needs stronger signal. City Hall quadrant, dark. Grey light quadrant, dark. Ironically. Harbor quadrant, still transmitting distress signal. Atlas Park quadrant, operational. So far.
Looking for a stronger signal. So who is this guy that we keep getting? So he's Grigori. So we're going to learn more about Grigori. He must have lived here. But that seems to be all I can get about Grigori from here. I can see a lot of the park from here. Look at that. The code might be in the building. I've been looking in the building. In this building? Or do you mean in a different building? I haven't really found anything that I can interact with in here that gives me a code. There are no numbers on this. In the boarded up place. I couldn't get into the boarded up place. Up here, you mean? Oh, in the boarded up house, you mean, that I couldn't get into? Or in here? That seems to lead to outside. I feel like I would... No, that's just the light. I'll play the light. That seems to lead, like, if I were to get out that, I would just fall. That would be bad. I mean, I would just regenerate wherever I was, because I seem to be able to take infinite falls. So I don't see anything. This doesn't appear to have numbers on it. That doesn't appear to have numbers on it. I do have this schematic now that I'll be able to do something with. Got somebody's ID, but I don't see any numbers in the room I first came in. Alright, this is the room that I entered into. Oh no, that's not. You're right. I first came in over here. So what else was over here? So I flipped that switch. There's a chair over here. There's a crate. Nothing in the crate. Give me just 1 second. Apologize, had to talk to one of the baby bears about doing their homework. Alright, under the stairs? Okay, wait, you said under the stairs in the police station. So I'm gonna go back to the police station. Because we didn't know we were in a police station until we were over here. Right, this is where he started talking about a police station. And then, oh, the boarded up spot down here. But the thing is, I can't seem to get into that boarded up spot. So I might have to find another way to get here. Because I can't get down there. Alright, so let's see if there's another way to get over there. Let's look from here. No, that seems to be in the middle of the water, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right, Red Fighter. It might be down there. And maybe there's something I have to get that's going to give me access to that. Oh, I did want to go back to, I can't remember where I was talking about our empathy and our connection to others. I bet you I get some sort of tool or something that I can use to get down there. So, in reference to this game, the reason that really became relevant for me is that I found similarity with regards to parenting in this game, right? So I quickly empathize, and very quickly empathize with parents and with anything that involves children. That is a quick way for me to make a connection, and that connection led to me wanting to find out more about what was going on in this story. And it had to do with, I think, and this is where I was trying to figure out why I would be so compelled to come back into a game that is of a type that I don't usually play. I do not usually go for the scary atmospherics. I do not, open world games like this, I'm going to pay a dizziness price for this game, and the way that the camera works, and yet I found myself wanting to return to this game because I wanted to know more about the story and I wanted to be the one to uncover it. And so that led me to want to talk about this aspect of empathy and how it relates to this game. And I just noticed that I can, if I could manipulate that, I could get up there. I want to manipulate that and get up there. Jump on the bed. I don't seem to be able to. And then one of the other things, while we're again back to is they've done a lot of experiments where they've attempted to manipulate how connected people feel to those around them. Oh, and we were talking about the sort of just the minimal differences that are required to create group differences. And the experiments that were done with things like chronic overestimators and chronic underestimators, randomly assigning people to these groups. Push me back inside. To these groups as if there were meaningful group differences, even though there were not. And they found biases in those groups, but what they also find is that if you can get a person to redefine their in-group, and get a person to redefine who they consider part of my own group as opposed to part of my out group, someone who is not like me, that they will start to attribute all sorts of positive characteristics to that group. So again, we are compelled, we are motivated to think all sorts of positive things about groups that are like us. And by comparison, because we do a lot of intergroup comparison, we by comparison will think more negative things about groups that we view as not like us. And so it becomes important how we group ourselves and what we consider our in-groups and out-groups. And one of the ways that we might be able to support more intergroup empathy is to really start to look at how do we change the way that people define those in-groups and out-groups, and help them gain a better understanding. Now, as that applies to this game, right, so as I listen to each of these sound bites, whether I want to or not, and you may find yourself doing the same, we somewhat divide the folks that we're listening to into the people that are like me, or the people that I might consider good guys, and the people that are not like me, and the people who I might consider bad guys. So I've somewhat defined the guy with the ice cream stand, who I think may have kidnapped a child. This is the door I can't get in, right? I've somewhat defined that individual as not like me, as dangerous and as not friendly to children, and that has to do with my status as a parent, right? You just heard me. I had to pause for a second so that I could... Oh. Have I just not opened that door? Have I been in this house this whole time and I did not open this door? This is so great. I didn't. I've been in this house this whole time and I did not open that door. My status as a parent and sort of my identification with who I think are the inhabitants of this house. So let's take a look at this photo here. Oh, this photo is going to bring me up to my need to do physics in this game. So first, let's get the wavelengths somewhat lined up. Then let's adjust the frequency. Oh, gotta get the wavelength a little bit better lined up. Wavelength there, frequency just a little bit, adjust just a little bit. No, nope, that's not right. Got it. All right.
Well, I'm sorry. It was my fault. I wanted Eagle View to work out for us, but I should have listened to you. Joyce asks about you every day, and I tell her you'll come as soon as you're done helping out there. She smiles, and I see you in her eyes.
So who is Riho? Okay, so Red Fighter says still can't hear the voices. Can't hear them at all, or they're just quiet. So there's only so much I can do about them being quiet. But if you can't hear them at all, that's a little bit odd. They're quiet. Okay. Um, I can try turning it up just a little bit more and see how that goes the next time we get to a voice. But that is literally the loudest that I can make those voices. So let's see how that goes. So that didn't give us a number, and we haven't gotten what I actually was excited that we might get up here is a way to open that door. Instead, we've gotten a new name, someone named Riho, who Joyce really wants to see. And who I guess was right about not coming here. I don't really see anything else going on in this room. Oh wait, a drawer! Yes! I found a gun. Oh good. Oh, I don't have to use the gun. That's good. I am not... Oh wait, I want wavelength first. Let's get a little bit of amplitude so that I'm at least on the right level. Just a little bit of frequency. Yes!
A gun? You bought a gun?
For our safety. There's no telling who's after us or where they are now. You saw what happened. Look, I'll leave it here. If someone shows up, you know where to find it.
Okay, so there's some disagreement as to whether or not there should have been a gun. This shows up... Oh, okay, so this shows up under Salma, even though Pavel was involved in this conversation as well. So now we definitely know that the two of them are related. Let's close the gun cabinet. It still does not get us into that... It still does not get us into that room, though, does it? I don't see anything on here. I really want into that room. That other room in this house. I feel like I need a crowbar or something. So I've got more plot now. Does this have drawers? And doors? Nope, can't open them. Okay. So, I've investigated more of this house. I am going to try this door one more time because I'm stubborn. Okay, that was 3 more times, but still. I am going to walk around this house again because this is one of 2 spaces that I haven't been able to get into. And I know that there's a room here. Right, there's definitely a room there. And I can't seem to figure out why I can't get in it. So... And there's a desk in there. There's a bunch of stuff in there that I can see from up here. But that I can't access. Couldn't pick up the gun. Not like it would do me any good. I don't see any people around. I seem to be the only one here. Okay. But we have found more memories in this place. That is very exciting. Alright. Let's keep going. Let's keep looking. See what else we can find. Fully investigate what's going on over here. Pardon me for just 1 second. A baby or bear needs me. Baby or Bear asked a very good question, and Baby or Bear asked, is this game scary? And I don't actually know the answer to that question. It hasn't been scary so far. But I don't actually know if it becomes scary. So that's the best answer that I have. I'm going to continue to look around up here. If you remember, I was following just the blue arrows for a while, so I am retraversing some ground here. And actually, wait, what's this? Oh, this was the place where I needed a key card, and I've only seen one key card in the whole game, and I wasn't able to pick it up. So I tried to pick it up, but I wasn't able to. So that clearly wasn't the key card that I was looking for. Gonna look around the ground here though. Now that I know that not everything is a blue dot, I'm going to look around the ground here. So while we are looking around, I actually had another aspect of empathy that I wanted to talk about. That has to do with the empathy of how we tell stories, and how I think that it relates to this game a little bit. So we know that, and actually probably how it relates to many different games. So this will probably become a running theme on the channel as we look at what is known as the dramatic story arc. So, and not every story has to follow this. There are many different modes of storytelling, and there are some modes of storytelling that subvert this. But the way that often stories are told is that they start off with an exposition phase. And actually, I just found something, but give me just 1 second, because Baby or Bear is in here, and he's looking a little bit nervous. And I want to invite Baby or Bear, if he wants to come sit with me, and then if there's a scary part, we'll know together if the part is scary, rather than you having to sit by yourself. It's okay? Okay. So we're actually going to engage in part of the story right now, and get part of our dramatic story arc.
We had to destroy the stairs. A drastic measure, but after we confiscated the food, we found several civilians trying to sneak into the camp. It's possible they will come in force next. They were here first, after all. Hearts and minds, huh?
So they destroyed the stairs.
Call down artillery on us while you're at it, why don't you? Right. Unless you want to try rebuilding that thing, I guess we're using another way up there.
And since I don't have a hammer anymore, I guess I cannot rebuild the stairs. I like the sarcasm there, that they just had to. Okay, so while we're talking about the dramatic story arc, so early phases. Mama Bear Psych, which is actually me, another form of me, but right now is Baby Bear, has come in and asked what game it is, and this game is called Empathy Path of Whispers. It is a game that is Oh, well, you find yourself alone in a world that something terrible seems to have happened, and you don't exactly know what it is. Some disease seems to have wiped out everyone, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. And the way that you figure out what's going on is through this machine that I'm holding up, this one right here. And this machine lets you find objects that have memories printed on them. And then you can listen to the memories and learn about the people that used to be there. And you also have this narrator voice that seems to be trying to guide you through, I don't know, at the very beginning, which would be in the dramatic story arc, almost part of the exposition. Uh, they almost tried to get you to reset the whole world, or at least that's what it seemed like it was trying to get you to do. Almost as if you could fix everything. That's cool. It's like an art exhibit inside the tree. And so it almost makes you wonder, as if you might be, if you can really reconstruct this and engage in that empathy, if you might be able to fix what happened here. I just picked up an effigy. That's interesting. But let's see what this does.
Is that Tanya just now? I could swear it was. And she had this huge bag. Can't be here for me. They hardly ever noticed I was even there. So... Oh no. They're going through with it. The stuff William was raving about. Do I tell someone?
The stuff William was raving about. So I have now an effigy. Can I put it here? I don't seem to be able to. So we seem to be having... So what happens is we pick up snippets of a lot of different stories here. But we're in what seems to be what we would call in the dramatic story arc, and it's hard to tell for sure, but we're either in the exposition phase. This is the phase that is telling us that, giving us the world building phase, to giving us all of the basic information and getting you started. Or we've started the rising action phase. Now, the rising action, it starts to get everybody excited about what's going on and gets your heart pumping a little bit and really starts the adventure off. And since I don't fully know the story, it's hard to tell, is this the rising action for a certainty, but it sure feels like it. It feels like as we're connecting these snippets of stories, right, we're finding out all of the different problems that are going on and all of the different things that we're going to have to solve and all of the different challenges of this world, and all of that would happen in the rising action phase of the story. And how you set up those phases and putting that sense of empathy within there to get your player and to get whoever's reading or experiencing the story to have those connections with the character will really lead to a deeper experience with the story, a greater sense of empathy, or in this case, right, shared distress. So the characters in this story are fairly universally distressed, and those who are not distressed seem to be bad guys. They seem to be the sort of people that you're not intended to relate to, and that you're not supposed to like. But just because you don't like them doesn't mean that you can't empathize with them, that you can't understand the feelings that they're having and to relate to the experiences that they're going through. And I do find myself wondering if we are going to end up in a situation where there are no true good guys or bad guys, or there are far fewer true good guys or bad guys than it initially seems. I think I'm walking around in circles here. I think it's time to go down. There are far fewer true good guys and bad guys than it initially seems, and instead we just have people who find themselves in a horrible situation and respond to that horrible situation in many different ways. And those many different ways are all very human potential responses to terrible situations, because we can't all be expected to respond to terrible situations perfectly. Oh, it looks like somebody was not very happy with their checkers game there. Right? They responded to a terrible situation by flipping the checkers board. So I do wonder if that's what we're seeing here, if that's what we're going to end up with in this game. And it does keep me wanting to come back, even though in the first episode I did say that I had been wanting something out of maybe the... I wanted something more visceral from the start, but the story is compelling and is giving that sense of wanting to know more and relating to the characters and that dramatic story arc, and is eliciting what it needs to elicit to get a sense of empathy for this world and for the people in it. We may be coming to a point where I stop playing this game. I think this may be... Have I been here? Is this how I got here? Oh, no, this is... Is this the elevator where I came in? I think it is. I think we've come back to the elevator where I came in. So I've managed to walk my way all the way back to the elevator where I came. So I think this is where I'm going to stop the video. I'll stop looking out on this vista. And this is where I will stop for now. Give it a brief pause. I am almost certainly going to come back to this game, whether I do it on stream or whether I do it myself, because I am interested in finding more about what's going on in this world and to get into other parts of the understanding of this world. So if you're interested in learning more about the science behind empathy or this game, feel free to subscribe. If I do another gameplay, I will put a card of it in the corner. And for those of you who are on the stream, stick around. I'm going to see if I can find another game to continue to play on the stream.